Hello there. This short video tutorial is probably one that you will only ever require to view once or twice because it teaches you how to get into your Google universe, which effectively is a Google account surrounded by a series of facilities that we will be teaching you how to use with each other to create some pretty fantastic stuff. And in particular, the public face, or if you prefer it, the private face of your project, whatever it is you're doing, will be a Google site, a website, and it may have shackled to it a blogging area. What you're doing, if your project lends itself to writing essays, developing information, or interacting with other people and obtaining their comments. But before we can do any of that, we have got to get into our Google account and be able to do that on a repeated basis. And to do that calls for two things, and possibly three things. So the two things are, there is a login. Now, in some software, the login might just be your name or even a word that you've invented. But when it comes to Google Universes, the login is always a unique address, a Gmail address, a Google email address for the purpose. Sometimes that email address is usable, which is very handy. In other words, the email address can also be the email address or the Gmail address for your project, for your Google site, and for everything that you're going to do. That isn't always necessary, and if it's not necessary, then it doesn't matter what the email address is. It can just be any jumble of words. It can be anything. It's only important if you want to use that Gmail address with your project. So if your project is your collection of beer mats, a pastime, a hobby, then mybeermats will do. mybeermats@gmail.com will do. If your business is a project that you're going to call Add Some Lashes, then it is ideal if the Gmail address is add-some-lashes@gmail.com. And then it's not only the first of the two keys that lets you into your Google site, it is also the usable Gmail for your business. The second of the keys is a password, and it's relatively easy to reset the password, but when we set up your Google Universe for your project, we will create a pretty secure password, which is a jumble of letters in lower and uppercase and numbers. Sometimes, though we prefer not, special keys, such as exclamation marks and so on. And so you only need those two items to be able to access your Google Universe for your project. But first of all, you have to bring up on screen the boxes to be able to put those in. One easy way of doing that becomes not the easiest, but the easiest for just this moment, is to go into your Google Chrome browser, or any browser for that matter, and just type in Google login. And that is what you'll see. And here you'll see there's a thing that says sign in. You touch that, and hey presto, you're being invited to sign yourself in. Depending on how you keep your login and your password, which might just be on a piece of paper, though I wouldn't recommend it because they're awkward to type in, these security passwords. So probably you might keep it just in notes or somewhere, or on a Word document that you've saved somewhere, wherever you keep it. I use software that looks after my passwords called TrueKey. And TrueKey is one of those programs that if I were to double click one of these lines, it would actually open up the URL in my browser and type in the passwords for me, and so I would find myself in the program. And I think I'm right in saying that if you want to have a look at TrueKey, you can put in up to 15 passwords free. So if you're not a heavyweight password user it's a good piece of software and very easy to use, and it makes passwords very safe. So I'm going to copy the first login phrase that I want to use and pop it into its little hole, and then press next. And then I go back and I copy the password and I pop that. Now, unfortunately, my TrueKey software is trying to interfere, and so there we go. Now, we're nearly there. We're almost there, but not quite. And you can see that Google is prompting me to protect my account. There is an increasing amount of awareness of protection. Google tries its best to keep the things that you do in Google as safe as possible. So every now and again, it says, I'm just going to check that you are you. And to do that, it associates a phone number. You see this recovery phone number here? It associates a phone number with your account and an email address. And there are times when it demands that it must send a text message to your phone with a key number, usually 4 digits, which you must then put into a box that it puts on screen to prove that you are you. And likewise, it could send an email with those 4 digits to your email address, again, in order to prove that you are you. And therefore, it offers you the opportunity to update your recovery phone number and your recovery email, just in case you change them. So we're not going to do that just now. We're going to click Done. And here we are at the Add in Some Lashes account page. It's not very exciting, and it's only really a starting point to enable us to go elsewhere. And we'll be looking at how to do that in much more detail in the following tutorials. But the key is here up in the top right-hand corner. What we have up here is this little 9 dots in a sort of noughts and crosses shape. And that offers us all of the different utilities which we may or may not be using to create our Google Universe in support of our project. Just as we have them open to look at them, the account is the account page that we're on, and it has the first of a few logos or screen top images about the business that we're in. The next section is the website part, where we open up our website and the tools to add to it. And these Google sites are very, very simple and straightforward to use, albeit they are quite limited in what you can do. But what you can do can be pretty good, and certainly they're a springboard to an all-singing and all-dancing site that you might develop in the future once you have all of your words and your lists and your images and everything you want to do and say prepared and developed using the very simple Google site format. It's then so much easier to go out and buy yourself a fancy template or learn how to use HTML and build a website based on that same material. Google Search doesn't need explanation. Google Maps don't need explanation, except that you can draw into your website your Google map of your premises or your shop or wherever you want it to be. So this is how these tools and planets in the universe can be integrated to create a really powerful online presence. YouTube, your YouTube account, because what we're talking about here, of course, you can load Google Maps without either even having a Google account or without having logged into your Google account. But when you log into your Google account, then all of these facilities, including facilities that you just cannot use unless you are a Google account owner, they all become connected together inside your universe. So this YouTube is not just any old YouTube for the world. This now becomes your YouTube channel in regards to add in some lashes, and in this case to add in some lashes. And so if we want to put onto our website a video, then we upload the video into YouTube, and we use the YouTube tools to do all the things we can do with a video there, and then we simply pop it into the site, the Google site, wherever we want it to be on the page, and hey presto, that is all managed for us. Gmail, similarly, this is going to be the Gmail address, and if we want to open up the Gmail section, here's what we do. We press a plus, we go here, and we click on Gmail. And in a moment, the Gmail section will open, and it'll be the Gmail for this account. If you log out of this account and log back in to another account that you have perhaps already, and you can see that this Gmail account hasn't been used, it's in virgin state, and so we just we'll deal with that at another time in another tutorial. Similarly, if we open up the YouTube, so we can work with all of these facilities at any one time. And, it has sensed what it is that is in YouTube. Actually, what we're going to be doing is uploading videos here to our own channel, where there aren't any at the moment, and here's where we will be able to upload videos that we would want to use on our website. And talking of the website, you probably now have the idea about all of that. Talking of the website, here's something that we built a little bit earlier, not very much, but a little. Add in some lashes, and there is the website. We might have 10 websites, by the way. It is possible in the Google universe to build as many websites as you like. So we can have a training website, we can have an advertising website that this is going to potentially be. We can have a website that is just experimental, one that we're thinking of doing for the future, and so on, any number. And when we press the website button in the drop down, it will show us all of the websites, and we pick whichever one we want to look at. Now we are looking at this website, this Google site at the moment, it's hardly been started, in its edit mode. So you can see here, we can insert things, we can add pages, we can change themes. We go into all of this in future tutorials. And when we feel we need to take a look at it, we've got a couple of pages here. So when we feel we need to take a look at it, we just drop that little drop down here, and now you're looking at the actual website, and there is its address. Now that's a Google website address, but it's perfectly fine if you are in a business where you give people your website address in order for them to click the link and look at it. This is fine. Google are reputable, and the fact that you have a Google website isn't going to put anybody off anything. But it's not very good if you're in a business where people need to find you, because its name is not simply, as you might like to have, aide-memoires.com. So in order to have a domain name that is a .com name, the domain name, or a .uk domain name, we need to buy that separately and then link it to this site. And so this site would then have two domain names, two URLs. One is the Google one, which you probably wouldn't use anymore once you have your own domain name, and the other is the aide-memoires.com, which of course you can then take steps to add into Facebook pages and add into search engines in order that people can just type in, I want to do something with my lashes, and your site would be somewhere in those rankings. So there's the site as it will look. It only has a couple of pages at the moment, so absolutely nothing to write home about. And but you can see there, that's perfectly acceptable as a website. Even given that we've only actually worked on it for half an hour, that is what half an hour's work gives you. Okay, that's about as much as you need to know. In fact, it's much more than you need to know as regards getting into your site. There's only one further thing I'll add, and that is that if we go to an ordinary Chrome page, once you have been using Google for a while, these buttons come up. And when these buttons come up, if when you load Chrome and load Google, there are these buttons here, then you don't have to do anything at all, really. You just click one of those buttons and it will take you to, it will offer you the login if you haven't already logged in. Or of course, if you have already logged in, then it will take you in this case to the Photos section of your Google Universe. This is the huge skip in which you can keep all of the photographs, all of the images that you are thinking you might want to use in your project. You can bundle them into albums and manage them and do all sorts of things with them, and then pull some of them, select the ones that you want to use and pull them into your Google site. So finally then, just the thing that you should take away from here: keep your login code safe, keep your passwords safe, preferably in a Word document or something so that you can copy and paste them. Remember always to look at this top right hand corner, and when you actually want to leave your Google site, if you don't want to leave it open, and when you want to leave your Google Universe, you just touch the sign out there and you will be taken out of it. And when you load up next time, you will have to log back in order to return to this project's universe. So let us do that and say goodbye.